intelligencesquared.com.
The worrying signs of an entrenched cultural warfare between the state's official religion and the state itself. The legal battles over the wearing of symbols of faith, such as the cross I've referred to. The sacking of staff because of their refusal to act against their Christian conscience. The cry of foul when political leaders wear their faith on their sleeves. All these, he noted, were examples of a society ill at ease with faith. A survey by the Sunday Telegraph last year found that up to 2/3 believe that Christians are discriminated at work. 3/4 of those polled said that there was less religious freedom than 20 years ago, and a staggering 84% thought that religious freedom of speech and action are now at risk in the United Kingdom. And this is ironic against a backdrop of a faith that has made the most enormous contribution to our nation and continues to do so.
Ladies and gentlemen, the notion that Christians are being bashed in this country was somewhat refuted by the visit recently of a Christian leader from Rome. He was fawned upon by all politicians, treated by the BBC to the uncritical coverage it usually reserves for royalty, and even the tabloids showed him respect, although they were hoping the Pope would get the same treatment as Tony Blair, who cancelled his book tour after eggs were thrown at him. The Sun even had its front page ready in hope, Eggs Benedict. Britain, in fact, so far from being an anti-Christian country, on the contrary, is a country that unjustifiably discriminates in favour of Christians in politics, in education, and in our tax laws. The last budget bashed the poor, it bashed the lawyers and social workers and public servants. Not a word the government dare speak about bashing the churches, about reducing their tax privileges. Dissolve a few monasteries, George, and we'd all have a break. There's no doubt, however, that Christians feel that they are being bashed. Part of this, I think, is wish fulfillment. They want to be martyred and persecuted. But the problem these days is that they don't turn the other cheek. There's a new breed of aggressive, egregious Christian who wants to hit back, in frustration, I suspect, because the churches are so empty. So instead of blaming themselves, they falsely claim that they're under attack. BA doesn't bash Christians, it loses everyone's luggage, irrespective of their faith.
God made distinctions when he divided the day from night, the earth from water, and you have a right to do the same. A culture is not a culture until it learns to distinguish, and it's fatuous to revere other cultures for what makes them distinct while scoffing at our own for being picky. Christianity made us, that's why. All right, made you. Ladies and gentlemen, with all respect, when Christianity, of which the better part is Judaism, found you, when it found you, you were warring gangs of troglodytic tree worshippers for whom spirituality meant dancing around a goat in maxi dresses. A raggle-taggle band of pagan headbangers whose highest architectural ambition was the arrangement of big stones in small circles. D.H. Lawrence, my lectures on whom, incidentally, were attended by Geoffrey Robertson when he was a student at Sydney University in the 1960s, hence the high Anglican wit and power of his delivery. He made half a dozen excellent jokes and another half a dozen excellent points, and they are mine, ladies and gentlemen. Behold the gentlemen who oppose this motion, Christian to their boots. Did you know, for example, that Matthew PARRIS once jumped into the Thames to save a dog? And was subsequently presented with an RSPCA medal by Maggie Thatcher. I honour his heroism. But ladies and gentlemen, had this St. Francis of Assisi de nos jours not lived in a Christian country, there's no saying what he would have done with that dog after he had saved it.
It's kind of you, Mr. Jacobson, to mention the dog rescue. I rescued the dog because I believe, as Christianity and Judaism does not believe, that dogs have souls. It's good of you, Mr. Jacobson, to credit Christianity with rescuing the British from Anglo-Saxon woad. It was the French who rescued us, I think, from Anglo-Saxon woad. It's always a privilege to be harangued by a Hitchens, and Peter started limbering up at 7:30 on Radio 4 on Sunday morning. The programme was called Pause for Thought, an injunction Peter has built a media career on overlooking. Among his arguments, I recall, was the assertion that discriminating against gays is okay because it's an objective fact that gay relationships are inferior, whereas discriminating against blacks or Jews is not okay because it is an objective fact that this is sheer prejudice. I speak as an advocate of not discriminating against anyone, Jews, blacks, gays, or Christians. What the other side of this debate really can't stand is that laws are made of which they do not approve and then enforced equally on believer and non-believer alike. Their apparent argument may be about process, their apparent complaint about victimization, but their real complaint is that they are not getting their way anymore.
Only a week passes by without someone describing me as a devout Christian. You might think that I go around with a barbed wire garter wrapped round my upper thigh, or that I end each evening after beating my children severely by reciting 2 or 3 long penitential psalms. Some of you may actually think that. No, I am not remotely devout by the standards of this age or any age. As Matthew says, Christianity offers something to hold on to, as those anxious to cast off a crushing tribal groupthink as represented by the speakers against this motion. Cast off that crushing tribal groupthink, vote for this motion, defend the Christian faith against those who like to live with its benefits but will not pay their dues.
And I don't really think, I'm terribly sorry here, it's just my quiet monastic foolishness, but I don't actually think anybody's answered the question or even looked at it. I can't quite stop bashing Christians. If the bashing is legal, fine, why not? All I wish when people bash Christians is that they get a greater accuracy and knowledge of what they are bashing. I have been bashed twice, standing by some traffic lights in Berkeley Square on not a very nice day, and a large Rolls-Royce, chauffeur-driven, appeared, and I was waiting for the lights to go red so I could cross, and the window went down, and a child of about 8 with a pump water gun just went pump. And a voice from behind him said in a very feminine, rather beautiful way, "An unfair world, Father." I delight in all of this. This is the fun of life. This is the cut and thrust that should not be too personal. And as a tolerant country, it is not anti-Christian. It may disagree and argue about certain Christian beliefs, but it is not anti. I must admit, though, my two on the same side of me made me slightly nervous, so there are one or two.